15 ways smart people deal with difficult and toxic individuals. 15 ways intelligent people deal with difficult and toxic people. Best health presence. People that are toxic constantly tend to create unnecessary drama. They are frequently the catalyst for a quarrel, and they lower worker morale. They also have a negative impact on individuals who have to deal with them emotionally. Some people are blissfully ignorant of the harmful impact they have on others. Others, on the other hand, appear to get pleasure from wreaking havoc on other people's lives. Buttons. Worst of all, it can be tempting to treat poisonous individuals the same way you treat toxic people. Giving back to the community. This, of course, never works. They are not capable of much self-reflection, and turning the tables on them just makes them see themselves in a different light. In the role of victims, the following approaches, which are often used to deal with tough people, are the best way to deal with them. People who are intelligent use it. First and foremost, establish boundaries. Negative people and complainers are terrible news. They wallow in their issues, hoping that others will join them in their misery so that they can feel better. Relating to themselves. People are frequently under pressure to listen to complainers in order to avoid being perceived as unsympathetic or obnoxious. However, there is a thin line between offering a sympathetic ear and becoming dragged into the situation. Their downward spiral of bad emotions. Only by creating boundaries and separating yourself when required can you avoid this. Consider this: if the complainant was smoking, would you sit there all day? Secondhand smoke inhalation? Most likely not. You would put some distance between yourself and the complainer, and you should do the same with them. Number 2, define your boundaries. This is where the majority of people sell themselves short. They believe they have no influence over the pandemonium because they work or live with someone. This could not be more false. You will start to notice a person's conduct once you have figured out how to climb above them. More predictable and simple to comprehend. This will enable you to consider when and where you will have to put up with them logically. When you don't, and when you don't. If you let things happen naturally, you will end up in a never-ending cycle of conflict. During tense discussions. However, if you create limits and select when and where you will engage a difficult individual, you will have a better chance of succeeding. Much of the mayhem is under your control. Number 3, in some cases, ignore. Now, before you put this technique into action, think about a few things. You must understand the ramifications of ignoring a toxic individual. Even when it is a happy moment, a poisonous person seeks attention all the time. A different person or their achievements. They will become obnoxious, and they will talk over other individuals. If you opt to ignore them, make sure there are plenty of other people nearby to distract you. Because if you have been submissive to a toxic person for a long time and you are fed up, it is possible that you will snap. If you find yourself alone with them, you will not be able to ignore them. You can only ignore toxic people in public because they tend to act out in public to conceal violent retribution, thus they are less likely to feel enraged as a result of being ignored. Number 4, do not tell gossipers your secrets. Toxic people will discuss profound secrets with others merely to appear intriguing for a brief while. They will regularly pass judgment or gossip behind people's backs. Do not be tricked into thinking they are gossiping if you encounter someone who does this. They have chosen to be with you because they like or trust you. They will betray your trust just as readily. Toxic people will frequently discuss someone with you in the hopes that you will agree along with them. Then they will go over to the other individual and tell them what you said. This causes a rift between two people, allowing the toxic person to take over. It is a divisive and deceptive strategy of attaining social power or allies. Do not be fooled. Identify and ignore insults. Number 5. Toxic people enjoy insulting others, and they do so subtly. People that are like this will try to cover up insults with flattery. I would never have the confidence to wear that, they will confess. Alternatively, when you try, you succeed. Despite the fact that these words appear to be positive, they are sowing seeds of distrust. By setting limitations on your skills, you can train your mind. Learn to listen for the facts hidden beneath compliments, then dismiss them. When you truly chuckle at what they say, you will know you have matured. However, be cautious because laughing tends to irritate them. Allow liars to trip up on their own. Number 6. Allow liars to trip up on their own. Toxic people often lie compulsively to themselves as well as to others. They will frequently engage in mental acrobatics to persuade themselves that their lies are true. Reality. It is relatively simple to recount a factual occurrence, but it is far more difficult to keep up with lies. It is difficult to keep track of a multitude of made-up stories, thus liars end up exposing themselves by contradicting themselves with more lies throughout time. Number 7. Do not be a victim of pity. Pity is another sort of manipulation used by toxic people. They even make their victims resent themselves for finally speaking up. Self-pity and the specific manner it is employed by poisonous people can be recognized by intelligent people. Folks, I am not saying it is bad to feel sorry for yourself now and again, but what I am saying is that it is not healthy to feel sorry for yourself all of the time. Toxic people, it is said, use this as a means of regaining control. As long as there are other people to blame for their problems, they will continue to do so. Someone who is willing to pay attention to them. You can avoid self-pitying folks by avoiding them and refusing to excuse their indifference. Being dragged into their never-ending cycle of failure. Stand up to bullies. Number 8. While most decent individuals will save the needy, defend the weak, and assist those who are in need, toxic people prey on those they perceive to be vulnerable. It could be someone who is shy, socially awkward, or even lacking confidence. Physical prowess is a term used to describe a person's ability to. Toxic people will bully and exploit anyone they believe will not stand up for themselves. To them, which is why standing up to bullies is so important, not just for yourself, but also for others. But for the sake of others around you? Defending yourself from bullying is possibly the most critical aspect of dealing with a toxic person. Number 9. Be aware of your emotions. If you do not know when someone is pushing your buttons, you will not be able to stop them. Maintaining emotional distance necessitates awareness. You will occasionally find yourself in a scenario where you will need to regroup and make a decision. The most effective method of progress. When dealing with a toxic person, it is critical to examine and understand your options. A mental condition. This way, if you are very tense, you may avoid making contact instead of being forced into it. A reaction you will come to regret. Number 10. Concentrate on solutions rather than problems. When something goes wrong, toxic people are generally the first to point the finger. They do this to avoid having to make any effort to correct the problem. It is easy to despise things and point fingers at others, but it is much more difficult to make changes. Intelligent people will avoid a toxic person's power by seeking a solution, an issue, rather than focusing solely on the offender. When you assist in making things right, whether or not you had anything to do with it, it feels good. Indicates that you are kind, protective, and loyal, and this will always win over destructive relationships. Folks, squash negative self-talk. Number 11. You can sometimes absorb other people's negativity. There is nothing wrong with being upset about how someone treats you, but your self-talk should be positive. Might either amplify the negative or assist you in overcoming it. Negative self-talk is unrealistic, pointless, and counterproductive. It plunges you into an emotional quagmire that is tough to break out from. Make an effort to stay away from negative self-talk at all costs. Spend time with loyal friends. Number 12. It is critical to build a strong support network of people who are both loyal and trustworthy. Intelligent individuals understand that they do not have to be everyone's friend, and that they do not have to be everyone's enemy. Is a person who is deserving of their friendship. They repay their friends' devotion and trust by demonstrating that it is reciprocal. One of the rarest and most valuable commodities you will come across is true friendship and fidelity. Do not let poisonous, nasty, and untrustworthy people ruin what you have worked so hard for. Folks. Number 13. Do not squander your time and energy on ineffective conflict. Some toxic people feel compelled to create a fight with anyone who is willing to accept their toxic behavior. A challenge to debate. Worse, the discussions that toxic individuals initiate are frequently pointless. There is no willingness to have a constructive debate or reach an agreement, and sensible people know this. This is quickly seen by others. The best course of action is to simply withdraw or ignore the attempts entirely. Number 14, maintain a goal-oriented mindset. People that are toxic can be highly distracting. When they create drama or cause problems, they can lead you to lose mental and emotional focus. Make every effort to shake it off. Instead, keep returning to your goal or the problem that has to be resolved. Toxic people can be many things, but the majority of them are not foolish, and once they know what they are doing, they will stop. They will usually back off if you are unfazed by them. Number 15, do not forget your right to be happy. It is quite acceptable for you to be a joyful person who associates with emotionally healthy people. Individuals, regardless of the reasons behind a poisonous person's actions. While it is difficult to ignore what people think of you, you do not have to compare yourself to them. You can always take people's comments with a grain of salt if you compare yourself to them. This manner, your self-worth comes from you, not from toxic people's thoughts or actions. Within. Dealing with toxic people is something we all have to deal with from time to time in our lives. From time to time. These folks have a knack of worming their way into people's lives and creating havoc. To influence others to suit their wants, they create drama and turmoil. However, you do not have to allow them to ruin your life and obstruct your growth. You will be able to deal with challenging and poisonous people if you use these tactics more effectively, and reduce the likelihood of negative consequences for you. What are your thoughts? What are your strategies for dealing with tough and toxic people? Please let us know in the comments section below. Please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends if you enjoyed it. Can continue to make them. Hit the subscribe button to see more videos like this, and do not forget to turn on the notification bell. Also, make sure to take a look at our other videos. Thanks for taking the time to watch.